Okay, we are ready to start. You guys want to get the microphones on?
Thank you.
Mine's not coming on.
Really?
Oh, here. Mine's on. Just push hard.
No, it's on.
Okay, great.
Okay, great.
Okay, today's date is February 11th, 2026. I'm calling the meeting of the Public Amenities Commission to order. Can I get a roll call, please?
Certainly. Commissioner Caldwell.
Here.
Commissioner Lang.
Here.
Commissioner Rowe.
Here.
Commissioner McCauley.
Here.
Chair Morocco.
Here. Okay, so if everybody can stand to do the salute to the flag. You know, I don't think we've ever had a staff person lead us, so if you can lead us. Great.
All right, place your hand over your heart and ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, the first thing on our list of tasks to do is to approve the order of the agenda. I did have a couple questions on it. Okay, so we have something on the agenda that we didn't vote on to put on there. And I don't see the person who's would be I do see now the person who'd be the logical choice. Just wanted you to explain how it got into our lane. Do you want to save that for when we get to that item, or do you want to?
No, I can explain it now. I assume it's the farmer's market item?
Yeah.
Okay, so there has been community support for a farmer's market in North Redondo, and one of the possible locations was the parking lot of the library. So I've been in communication with some of the representatives that are proposing that new market. They have identified the possibility of Green Street as a location. Since it will impact the library, and you also, your purview is the library, I invited Teresa to come and speak about the potential farmers market in North Redondo. She'll be going over their plan, but whether it's on Green Street or in the library parking lot, it'll impact the library and they'll make use of the facility. So I thought it was germane to your purview.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Is there any other motion to approve the order of the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the order of the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any public comment? No? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Okay. That's everybody here that said yes on it, so please record it in that document. We're moving to the blue folder items, backup materials. There are two blue folder items in your materials. One is the potential historic resource inventory item that I presented the last meeting that we voted to be on this meeting's agenda. And the other is a presentation from the farmer's market. So can I get a motion to receive and file the blue folder items?
Motion to receive and file blue folder items.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any public comment?
No public comments.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Okay, so that passes again unanimously. Now we go to the consent calendar. There are 4 items on the consent calendar. Approve the affidavit of posting for this meeting tonight. Approve the Public Amenity Commission meetings of December 10th and January 14th, 2026. Receive and file the library director's report, and receive and file from the Community Service Department related to historical parks and recreation activity. Is there any member of this commission that wishes to pull an item? I'll go down the line anyway. Commissioner McCauley?
No, I'm good.
Commissioner Rowe?
Nothing to pull, no.
Commissioner Lang?
No.
Commissioner Caldwell?
No.
Okay, I would like to pull 2 items. One is the minutes, both of them, and then the library director's report, I don't know if I have to, I just want some bragging for you to do, so I'm going to pull it so that you have the opportunity to talk about the things that
Thank
you're
you.
bringing up. So with those two items pulled, is there any public comment on any of the remaining consent items, the affidavit of posting or the Parks and Recs and historical reports? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the items F1 and F4?
Motion to approve F1 and F4.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, so that passes unanimously again, which brings us to our excluded consent calendar items. I'm going to start with item F3. You have some amazing things going on, Mr. Vinke, so I would hope that you would talk about some of the upcoming programs that you have, as well as some of the accomplishments that you have had come up recently.
Well, certainly. Let me just get to that page. No, we definitely do. I'm very proud of the staff and all of their efforts at the library. One of the things that is noted is the youth services librarian is applying and receiving a grant for the USA 250 themed books that'll be received by the library. That is a grant that supplies free books around the 250th anniversary of our nation. In addition to that, we have completed the process to be part of the One Coast, One Book program, and that I think will be very, very exciting, as being a participant allows our patrons to take part in a virtual author talk featuring George Takei, and we will have additional copies of They Called Us Enemy. So that'll be a program that'll be going from March through May 2026. We do have some supplemental programs to support the One Book, One Coast. And as I said, there'll be copies of both print and electronic copies of They Called Us the Enemy, which is a very, very excellent graphic novel. Our youth services librarian will be taking part in the Redondo Union High School Teen Jobs Fair on March 4th, 2026. Our youth service librarian is also working closely with the librarian at Redondo Union High to promote library programs and resources. Our express hours at North Branch continues to grow. Every week I receive copies of applications for the program. We had a wonderful space workshop, which was actually a craft that they put on where youth could make very creative space, I want to say objects, spacecraft, I should say. It was pretty amazing, and I'll have to look on Instagram. They might have posted some of those as well. We have some wonderful displays that staff have put up, and I'm just trying to see if there's anything I missed or anything you would like me to highlight or speak more about.
You have this speaker about poems that's coming up on the 14th.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. In celebration of Black History Month, we have several programs and displays, but specifically we will have a poet that will be speaking. Her name is Charlene Green. And in addition to that, our youth services program will have an exciting drum circle. Those events and all of our events are available on our website under our calendar of events. But we're excited to be able to complement both with an adult and a family program.
Thank you.
Dana, for the jobs program, the teen jobs program, is that located at the library or is that?
That is located at the high school, and we will be providing outreach and some overflow parking availability for students and anybody attending. So thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? Any comments from the public about the library director's report? Anybody online?
There's nobody online.
Okay, can I get a motion to receive and file the library director's report?
Motion to receive and file.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Okay, it passes unanimously. Moving to the minutes. So at the last meeting, I believe Commissioner Galassi as moved and seconded by Commissioner Colley to table the December minutes. And there was going to be some additional research with regards to how we do the counting. So do you want to give us an update?
Well, yes. So the most recent minutes from our January meeting is how the votes will be recorded. And I believe if you look at the vote recording on those minutes, I think it's in very good detail regarding to who was absent and who abstained and the number of votes being recorded. It's very transparent and obvious. And in speaking with city clerk, that is the way they'll be formatting the vote moving forward. And the goal is to have that consistent among council and commission. I appreciate their efforts in that to make it transparent, but also being that the city clerk is the keeper of records, I defer to them as far as how the votes are recorded and review the minutes for consistency and accuracy. And it's not my purview to determine how the votes are recorded, just that they're recorded accurately and you're provided with transparent information.
Okay, and how does that impact the August through November minutes?
And speaking to the city clerk's office, they will not do retros. They're doing the format moving forward. So I appreciate their efforts in that. Certainly, I think as Chair Morocco demonstrated at council yesterday, we could go back pretty far if we wanted to straighten up all of some of those inconsistency. And I appreciate their effort to get everybody on the same page and consistent.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah, so I do have a question. So in meetings for this meeting, minutes for this meeting, we will see a different format for the roll call?
They should look exactly as they do in the January minutes.
Okay.
Those are the revised and the new standard. Again, I think it's very clear.
Okay.
Anybody have any comments about the minutes? Okay. Any public comment on the minutes? Okay, can we do a roll call on this?
Certainly.
I don't know if there was a motion,
Oh, okay.
and I was going to ask if we could separate them out. and
Sure.
Make a motion to separate, or to approve the minutes of December 10th and separately to approve the minutes of January 14th.
I'll second that. Okay, now we can do roll call?
Yep.
Commissioner Caldwell?
I wanted to vote yes on December and abstain on January.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes on both.
Commissioner Rowe?
Yes on both.
Commissioner McCauley?
Yes on both.
Chair Morocco?
No on both? Okay. I think that takes us through, and it passes, both of them pass. That takes us to public participation on non-agenda items, item H. This section is intended to provide members of the public with an opportunity to comment on any subject that does not appear on the agenda for action. The section is limited to 30 minutes. Each speaker will be afforded 3 minutes to address the commission. Each speaker will be permitted to speak only once. Written requests, if any, will be considered first. Do we have any written requests?
Not for non-agenda items.
Okay, does anybody in the public wish to address this commission? Now's a great time for all of our students to come forward if they have any questions or want to address us. Okay. Anything online?
There's nothing online.
Okay, well, I guess we're done with public participation on non-agenda items. Moving on to item I, ex-parte communications. This section is intended to allow all officials the opportunity to reveal any disclosure or ex-parte communications about the following public hearing, which we have on the designation of Garnett Historic District. So starting with you, Commissioner McCauley.
Nothing to disclose.
Commissioner Rowe.
Nothing.
Commissioner Lang.
None.
Commissioner Caldwell.
None.
Okay, I have stuff to disclose. I've had multiple contacts with 3 of the residents on Garnett Street. 2 of them are the proponents. 1 lives across the street. I've also talked with one of the residents who did not want to be part of the historic district. Also because the city, and I did check with Mr. Scully, did not have a historic application, a historic district application. I took one that was used, I believe when you were the chair, Commissioner Caldwell, for Catalina, whited it out. The writing you will see on the paperwork is a sample I gave to the residents. So it's my writing on it. The research, at least some of it got broken out, but the historic context statement, I did give the residents a draft. So I am going to abstain from that vote. And I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Lang to actually proceed with the public hearing. Is there any questions of the commission before I do that? Okay, then we'll turn it over to Commissioner Lang to lead our discussion.
All right. Thank you, Chair, Commissioner Lang, members of the commission, Sean Scully, Planning Manager. I want to thank Ron Morocco in pulling this together. This is a nice step for the city. I don't know exactly when we did the last historic district, but this is a really positive step for historic preservation in the city. And with that, I'm going to introduce John Chiampa, who is our new senior planner. John's been working with us as a contract planner for the last few months, and we're lucky to have been able to bring him in full time, and he'll be a staff member here at the city going forward. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to John.
There we go. All right, good evening, commissioners.
Before he talks.
There we go. Again, John Champa, I'll be presenting to you the requested Garnett Historic District. Just to give you a little background and context, this is encompassing 4 properties along the Garnett Historic or proposed historic district on Garnett Street, 501, 505, 509, and 511. All of these are within the area that's of the original town site of Redondo Beach, as well as in the R3 or low medium multifamily residential zoning district within the city. And all of these properties have already been identified on the city's historic landmarks list, as well as are participating in the Mills Act program for the city. So as was previously mentioned, this property here, or these homes were previously identified for a potential historic district back in 1990. However, one of the property owners decided they didn't want to be participating. And so at that time, the item was tabled and it didn't move forward until now. So now we have the application before you with these 4 properties that all have owners that are willing participants for the historic district designation. So the streetscape here underlined in red is of the 4 properties here of the potential district, which are, representation of the, early 20th century development within the cities with similar architectural styles of the Craftsman and California bungalow that were very prevalent of this major development period in the city, and contribute to the overall cohesive visual quality of the district, as well as there's many other homes along both sides of the blocks that are of similar quality, but of these 4 are the ones that are willing to participate at this time. So I'll be going through and giving you a quick little summary of each of these properties. And as I had mentioned before, they are landmarks listed as well as on the Mills Act. Here at 501 Garnett Street, this property was constructed in 1919. It's a craftsman style design known as the Brett House, and was listed in the 1996 Circ survey as a C+ rating. Some of the key character defining features of this property are its 2 front-facing gables, the wide overhang eaves, as well as the exposed beam and rafter tail ends, as well as the wood windows. And there is the porch that was enclosed, but as you can see, you can still see the general framework of where the porch once was. Here we have 505 Garnett Street, known as the McFadden House. This was constructed in 1920. It is a craftsman style design that was also given a possible rating of a C in the evaluation of the property. Some of the key character defining features of this home are the front gable roofs, as well as the cross gable roof design, the grouping of the 3 double hung windows at the front, as well as the front porch is a very prominent front facade element to the home. Next, we have 509 Garnett Street, or the Cloven House, as it's known, which was constructed in 1913. Again, a California bungalow style home. Key character defining features of this home are, again, the front gable roof with the porch, which are the prominent facade elements of this home, as well as the large wood windows flanked on either side. Original elements there. And then lastly, we have 511, the Wolfsburg home, which was constructed in 1913 as well, a craftsman style design, also given a rating of C. Some of the key character defining features of this home are the front gabled roof and the hipped rear section, as well as the wide eave overhangs, exposed rafter tails, and the decorative gable braces. And then as well here, we have another porch, which adds to the overall cohesive element of the homes within the district. So I touched on a lot of the key architectural elements of these structures individually, but cohesively, they're of a similar architectural style and design of the Craftsman and Bungalow, which were prominent during from the span of development, which was 1913 to 1920, but through the period of development, which was in the city's historic context is 1900 through 1930. They're all reflective of the 1- and 2-story designs with the original massing scale and form as reflective in the overall street scene. They all have unique but representative character defining features of this Craftsman and California bungalow style, with the front porches as well as the gabled roofs or cross gabled roofs, and then as well as the wood siding that's prominent throughout, and the original wood windows that are reflective of this architectural style design. So with that, staff is recommending that the commission designate the Garnett Historic District, and recommending that it be considered exempt as is not considered a project in CEQA. And that concludes staff's presentation.
I do this now. Okay. I'd like to open the public hearing and administer the oath for any applicant or interested party wanting to speak on this item.
There since, we were just talking about this on the way up, 2007.
Oh, yeah. Hold on, sorry. Okay, this is the oath. I just need you to, like, hold their hands up?
What?
Yeah, okay. Do each of you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. So basically, I just want to thank you for your consideration. This has been a long time coming. Thanks, Ron, for helping us, guide us through the process. We also met with different members of the planning department who also helped us through the process. So it's been a very good learning experience. And we love our neighborhood. We love the character, so we really hope you seriously consider it and vote yes.
Yeah, I have the same comments. Really appreciative to you, Chairperson Ron, and also John. Thank you for all your help. We really appreciate the guidance that you have given us. We take a lot of pride in our homes, and we hope this moves forward. Thanks.
Excuse me, could you state your name for the record?
Tessa Bodie,
Thank you.
501 Garnet.
501, okay. My name is Jeff Monsuno. I'm a resident at 1015 Emerald Street, which is a few blocks away from this district, proposed district. It is also a historic landmark, the Templeton Lutz House. I also served for 12 years as a preservation commissioner, so I'm familiar with the work. While I was a commissioner, they had talked about it. As mentioned, there had been a proposal in the past. They couldn't get enough residents together to move it forward. While I was commissioner, there was talk about it, but again, I think there was some pushback from some of the residents. I was walking around the neighborhood and saw the public notice. At my first thought was, oh no, they're gonna tear one down. If you live in that area and love the old homes, it's sad to see one after another as they disappear. And so when I read closer, I was really happy that this got this far. I was a little bit disappointed that it wasn't bigger. I think both sides of that street, all the way, the whole block could easily qualify. It could be like Gertruda in that sense. It could be a very nice historic district. And I would encourage you and staff to keep pushing and encouraging the neighbors. Always let the neighbors know. I think one of the things the neighbors are always worried about is they can't change their home or modify it at all, which is not the case. There are limitations, but the commission, while I was on it, was pretty generous about allowing interventions, always in keeping with the Secretary of Interior standards. But anyways, I'm all for it, and I hope it passes and it enlarges in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Caldwell, do you have any questions or?
I don't have any questions. I would just comment to the rest of the commission that while I was serving on the Preservation Commission, he introduced himself as Jeff Matsuno, but I always knew him as Commissioner Matsuno, and he was somebody that I relied on, especially when I got on the commission because of his knowledge, not just of Redondo Beach, but architecture and just the different home styles, and always had an opinion that I truly valued. So it's great to see him here today and speak in favor of this. I knew that he was in support of this, and when I walked in, I saw him here, and I thought, that's why he's here. So it's great to see him.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Rowe?
Yeah, I happened to walk that neighborhood on a previous activity, and I agree that the district, there are 17 houses on the block, and 14 of them have original intent. Only 4 of them have been modified, so it's a very nice 17 houses. I wish the whole thing could be a district, but the good news is I'm on a subcommittee that is going to outreach on these issues to the public. So we'll be talking to the Garnett block sometime in the future. But thank you.
Great, thank you. Commissioner McCauley?
I think they're wonderful houses, and I'm glad that this is finally at this point. Taking a long time. Hopefully we'll push it through. I do have a question for staff. Is that okay?
Yeah.
You refer to the letter grade, the C, and on some of the properties. What's that list that you referred to?
That's the historic survey from 1986.
Okay, that came up in the past, that survey is no longer valid. Is that correct?
Yeah, just recently, it's gone to the city council. We discussed the survey and their validity and how they relate to state laws with respect to historic resources. And it came into question. And at this time, the council has determined that that survey, that list is no longer a list that will serve as the, let's say, the documentation as to a house being treated pursuant to the city's preservation ordinance. So currently the way there's a historic preservation ordinance, and then the surveys that were done way back are given certain grades. As you heard, these are Cs. Per our preservation ordinance currently, only A's and B's are subject to the provisions of the historic of the preservation ordinance. And that's been determined that it's not consistent with state law in the sense that, or the reason being is these surveys that are done, they're supposed to be updated every 5 years.
I remember that, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and it was only done one time or something like that.
Yeah, so there's some other issues and concerns with the list as well, and the designation and treatment of the properties without the owner's consent. So these surveys were done as windshield surveys. The owners weren't notified. So that's another issue of concern that is now, the council's determined they want to, with the subcommittee and with future outreach, they want to
get people to buy in and
yes,
voluntarily
they want it to be, more open and willing participants that are aware of what the implications are of their property having a designation or a potential resource, a designation that makes you subject to the preservation ordinance.
So as of right now, though, any house on that list is irrelevant.
Well, it still will be used by staff as we move forward, but it won't be.
New survey, or is it?
The survey.
Will there be a new survey? Is that what's being talked about?
We're not sure. We're waiting for further direction from council on whether or not there'd be a future survey.
Okay. And that survey and that information is not relevant for these houses because they're in the Mills Act?
Correct.
Okay.
Even though they were designated Cs, and it's interesting, you look at these properties and you wonder.
Well, the C was from 1986 or.
Correct.
Looking at those pictures now, I would not think that was.
Yeah. And I, within preservation, the study of historic resources, the grades of A, B, C, D, et cetera, those aren't utilized anymore. There's
Right.
a different system for cataloging a potential historic resource. So there's a number of reasons why those surveys are out, are no longer valid. They're not updated, nor do they go by current ranking systems. So again, there's going to be a lot of outreach to the public to try to preserve the potential historic resources that we have.
To try to get people to voluntarily.
Correct.
Is huge, because not knowing that you were put on that list, I think from previous people that were here speaking, that was kind of a shock, and they didn't appreciate that. I think you'll get hopefully a lot more people back on the list, but that would be huge.
Yeah, no, we agree. But yeah, it would come up, a lot of property owners had no idea, and they were coming in to do, an addition to their home. And then they were, subject to the ordinance and had no idea that they were subject to the ordinance. So there's, those lists now are still going to be, we're going to utilize those as we conduct future outreach. But
for the homeowners, there's nothing enforceable in that situation.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Well, I'm glad that you guys are on that. I remember that was kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
So, cool. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
I'm going to disagree with 90% of what you said. I have proposed, and it should have been on the agenda today, a way of dealing with the potential historic resources index that still keeps it relevant. And I will get you a copy as well. But it is on the blue folder that we took in. So if you're going to stick around for questions later, when we get to staff stuff, we can go over that.
And we are aware of the item that you put on the blue folder as a blue folder item, and it is under consideration, and we're in discussions with the city manager, and it's definitely under consideration. So
yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I have, first of all, I want to say that I'm really excited for the residents of Garnett, even if there's homeowners that aren't going to participate in this historic district at this time. I think the fact that it could be established is going to really be encouraging to the rest of the block and other parts of Redondo who might have a grouping of historic homes. I think that listening to Commissioner McCauley ask about the historic resource list, my context is very different. I grew up in a historic district, and so people bought into that community and that neighborhood because that's what they wanted. They wanted a protected home and that aesthetic and a piece of history. And so there was a lot of value placed on these homes and not just on the land. And I think that in Redondo Beach, if we continue to see these pockets of historic homes protected, we will see a greater value placed on that. And that's something that I hope we'll see. And I actually hope that kind of overhauling how we look at these homes through the city ordinance is also going to bring more awareness to these homes that are so valuable to our shared history. I want to say thank you to all the homeowners that can continue to push this forward. I know it's really not easy, like all this paperwork and kind of the motivation that, can lag a little after going at it for so long. So anyway, I'm really excited for this, and I don't know if anyone has any more questions, but if not, we could take this to a vote. Oh, and I can close the public hearing and, we have to close the public hearing to deliberate. We've never done this before, I don't think. So I'm going to close the public hearing so that we can deliberate further. Is that what you mean? Okay. Okay, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm abstaining.
Okay. So then I can take a vote, right? Or are we deliberating further?
You have to read the resolution at one point.
Okay. Just right now?
Yeah, I think there's a public comment.
Oh, do we have a public comment?
There is one public comment that
Okay.
is in support of this happening.
Okay. Is this what I need to read? Okay.
Sorry, Commissioner Galassi don't know how to read it.
Oh, she
Commissioner
does?
Feldman maybe has some support for you.
I mean, I can read it. I just want to make sure I'm taking the correct steps in the correct order.
Yeah, I was going to make a motion to approve the recommendation. This looks like it's the minutes.
Should we read
Go
it?
back and all. Sorry, I'd already moved to the next item. Yeah, so I would make a motion to make the determination on the requested formation of a historic district as noted in the staff memorandum.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
And for staff, does that suffice?
Defer to Mr. Scully. Does that suffice, or do they need to read the resolution aloud?
Do we have the resolution? We can pull it up and.
Is it this one?
Did you have a resolution of the Public Amenities Commission of the City of Redondo Beach?
Yeah, I can read it.
Designating Garnet.
Can you read it? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's on
I have it up.
the PAC 26.
So you want me to read this to be in the motion?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so it's, I move that we approve the resolution of the Public Amenities Commission of the City of Redondo Beach, California, designating the Garnet Historic District to include 4 properties located at 501, 505, 509, and 511 Garnet Street, pursuant to the requirements of Chapter 4, Title 10 of the Redondo Beach Municipal Code.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain. So we're done with the public hearing?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you mind? I'll take it back.
Yes, please.
Are you sticking around for the referrals to staff? Because there are some items that you may want to discuss.
We weren't planning on it, but we could certainly get the information from Dana as liaison tomorrow,
Okay.
and be happy to follow through with you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, you guys. It's been a long time coming.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to staff.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Lang, for doing that.
Sorry.
It's okay. So
About that.
now we're moving to item K. We have nothing from a previous agenda, so we move to item L. And the first thing on the list is L1, discussion and possible action regarding the potential North Redondo's Beach Farmers Market. For the commissioners, it was a blue folder item, and there's about 6 pages in there. So just be aware of that. Mr. Vinke, who's going to be talking on
I'd
this?
like to introduce Teresa Mitchell. She will be speaking on this item. She also has a presentation. And again, as I said earlier, given the recommendation or the course of action that they're planning, there will be impact on the library, but we're hoping that that impact becomes a mutually beneficial one that will incur some library programs and activities as well. But I'll hand it over to Teresa once we get the PowerPoint up.
I have it on a flash disk as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Have it there, so then just click, I think the slideshow.
At the bottom, I think. Bottom right is the,
Just start from beginning. We might have to go back a ton of time, but go ahead.
thank you. My name is Teresa Mitchell, and I have been working with a group of neighbors for the last few months to implement a farmer's market in the North Redondo Beach area. We've done a number of quite a bit of site evaluation and analysis, and we have determined that the best location is closing Green Street at Artesia Boulevard between Artesia and Vanderbilt on the south side, and then to hold it on Wednesdays from 2 to 7 p.m. You can go to the next slide. So we started with looking at the farmers markets and the local farmers markets, which is a broad, basically from Santa Monica to Harbor City. And what we have found is there is a void once you get away from the coastal cities in North Redondo and for the neighboring cities to the north. And there's particularly a void in afternoon markets. You can see in the darker green, there are only 2 afternoon or evening markets, one in El Segundo on Thursdays and one in Culver City. Most of them are held on the weekends and during the day. So we have concluded that to serve both the North Redondo community and to fill a gap in service areas that we would do an afternoon market. Okay, the next. The location that we're looking at is on Green. What you can see is closing the street in the left turn lane from Artesia Boulevard to Vanderbilt, and the teed off the L's section of the North Redondo Beach Branch Library parking. I think there's 3 stalls on the north of it and then 2. So a total of 5 stalls that we would be closing, mainly for safety reasons so that cars don't start to turn down into Green Street. But that also allows us to have produce vendors that can park and have their booths. And then we will be using Green Street. It'll have 2 rows of booths, 10 foot each, and then there's a 9-foot walkway between the 2 of them, closing the community service district as well. That also allows for 2 ADA parking spaces at each the library parking lot and the community development department parking lot, which gives a pretty broad range of accessibility for and path of travel walking to the market in two different locations. Part of the reason that we are doing the market is we want to have a community-centered event for residents and families that they can walk to in North Redondo. There's quite a focus in other parts of the city, but what we don't have is a lot of regular sustained activities that are in the highest density area. The second reason for it is that 70 to 80% of the attendees of farmers market, according to the research, they also patronize local businesses, and there's been a renewed focus of looking at bringing business and patrons to Artesia Boulevard within the ACAP district. And this area in Green, in particular, north of between the community service building and the North Library in the ACAP plan that was initially, it was approved in December of 2020, that showed closing that north portion of Green to become a public plaza area. So this would be a way, it was already identified by the consultants, so this would be a way of testing it on a weekly basis and maybe eventually turning it into a permanent location. It's located in the highest density area, residential density in most of Redondo. Almost all of the homes nearby are zoned R3. And it's also, so what we're hoping for is more of a walkable neighborhood. We have, as Director Vinke has said, we're hoping that this will complement programming at the library. So kids coming home after school, they leave Burning Elementary or wherever they're coming to school, they can stop at the library, they can stop at the farmer's market. And the proceeds from the market, similar to what is done with other markets in the area, we've created a nonprofit group called RNRB, and the proceeds from the farmer's market will be reinvested directly into that ACAP area. So we're hoping that this becomes a self-sustaining and like a perpetual improvements to the neighborhood, not just a one-off activity. So if you can go to the next slide. So oh wait, I think you missed one. We evaluated quite a few different locations, and we had a pretty robust criteria for evaluating the sites. The short list was using the North Redondo Beach Library parking lot on its own, closing of Green Street, closing of Felton, the Performing Arts Center, which seems to come up quite often, and then also Perry Park. These were the shortlisted. What we found is that to keep it as a community-centered activity, keeping it on Artesia Boulevard was the preference versus the Performing Arts Center or Perry Park, mainly because of the demographics. There's higher traffic, both pedestrian, car, and bike traffic, and it's also adjacent to the commercial districts. And then circulation as well, it's more walkable. It has higher bike, like there's bike paths on Grant that you can get to. There's availability of street parking on Artesia Boulevard, and then the 2 parking lots that for the community service and the library. And I think the community service building, they close at 5 during the day, so that would leave the last couple hours to be just for parking for the farmers market. And then there's also decent lighting and bathrooms available, so it ties to the public amenities. We can go to the next slide. The next slide, these are some of the disqualified sites and the reasons why they were disqualified. The SCE power lines, that is one of the other favorites that keeps coming up, but SCE does not allow tents under high voltage power lines. And then most of these others are either private property or Anderson Park, which has come up, is Lincoln Elementary is there, and it would be disruptive of during the like pickup and drop off of schools, and also expected construction at some of the other parking lots. And then we evaluated all of the streets along Artesia Boulevard, both on the north side and the south side. And they were disqualified either for buses, fire access, or a high volume of driveways. So that brings us to Green and Felton. Felton also has a lot more residential driveways, whereas Green Street, there's only 1 residential driveway, which we had spoken to all of the residents there, and it's a multifamily property, and they have all agreed to the street closure and are actually excited about having it moving forward. So again, pointing back to Green. Thanks. And then this sheet is our day and time analysis of when the farmers markets, there's 175 farmers markets in LA County. Of those, approximately 20 are on that first map that we showed that show the time and location. So we were looking to ensure that we're not competing with our local farmers markets. The biggest gap is on Wednesday evenings, and even the Wednesday morning markets are quite a ways away. They're in Harbor City or Santa Monica. They're not nearby. So this allows to fill a gap in the farmers markets. And then countywide, Wednesday evenings is one of the higher frequency days for farmers markets. And that's it.
Well, thank you. Any of the commissioners have any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Go
You
ahead.
said you are working with, are you the consultant or are you a resident?
I'm a resident.
Okay. My other question was about that private driveway. So is it an apartment building, or is it, because you said it's multifamily, so I'm not sure how many people bought into this, but like say one of them moves, and do they have it, can they exit their home while the farmer's market is going on, or come to like?
So it's an apartment building that there's no owner occupied. There are only 3, I think there's 10 units, but there's only 3 parking spaces. And of all, we had all but one of the residents answer the door and signed approving for the street closure. None of them actually have parking space, use those parking spaces. They rely either on street parking, the library parking lot after hours, or mainly street parking. So, and they were, in order for us to get the street closure permit, which was submitted today, we needed all of the residents, or I think there's 67% of the residents have to approve that street closure. So they were very excited to have an amenity outside of their house.
Okay.
So.
And you should probably also know that they were originally supposed to have, this is according to Holly Osborne, supposed to have more parking spaces over there, and somehow it whittled down to 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there were garage spaces that were converted, and
Oh, okay.
so those apartments don't actually have parking
Oh,
in them, or not very much.
interesting. Okay. I don't have any more questions for you at this moment. That was really interesting to see all those numbers and all the farmers markets times and locations broken down like that. I had never seen that. I love going to the farmers market. I go to the Torrance one actually, and I think attending farmers markets really depends on your schedule and which one works best for you. And I think that, and which is closer, more convenient. And so I appreciate that so much thought was put into the time and the location. It is hard in North Redondo if you want an amenity like a community garden as well. It is really hard to find space for that.
Right.
So I do hope this works out for you guys. And I really appreciate you and the other residents that have taken this on and put in all this legwork. So it's a lot of work, and it's going to serve a lot of people if this moves forward.
Thank you.
Commissioner Caldwell, do you have any questions?
Yeah, and a couple. One, ultimately, to staff, it will impact the library clearly, but what's do we have a say in the future? I mean, where's the decision point?
I believe at some point, you can talk a little bit about the process, but I believe at some point it will go to council, correct?
So my understanding is that this is, since it is an event, that the community service development, our department has said that it would fall under their normal administrative procedure for an event.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, we're coming here because out of respect for the Public Amenities Commission, and this would be a public amenity. What she has suggested is that we submit the permit for a shorter period of time. Initially, I thought 3 months, but I think we submitted for 6 months because we need a decent amount of time for the vendors and the market managers to commit to. And then at 6 months, we would reevaluate and make adjustments. And Director Vinke was involved in the very early in the process, and included like site walks and providing input in how the city or how the library is functioning, which was one of the main reasons we moved from the library parking lot to Green Street, so that we can accommodate the library visitors. And he did provide some of the parking counts on a Wednesday afternoon throughout that afternoon to see how much it is utilized. I mean, we expect it will get a higher utilization with the farmers market. But we are also working with nearby businesses that have larger parking lots to accommodate vendor parking and public outreach, public parking as a supplement to what's already on site and the street parking.
And I would just like to add, obviously we're supportive of farmers market in the community. Our primary concern, of course, is library access, materials and services. And of course, the afternoons are a busy time. So I appreciate the consideration on the parking lot access. But realizing the limited amount of space, we're looking at all the work they did to put this proposal together, and I think are optimistic that we might be able to benefit from the market, obviously in collaboration for future programs and events, and increased access to the library as more people are drawn to the market. But certainly, as we've been in discussions about access and parking, I feel like this mitigates some of those concerns greatly, and then provides us with an opportunity for collaboration down the road once it gets up and running.
Mm-hmm. And then in the presentation, I think it was noted that the funds or whatever revenue was generated would go to our NRB.
Yeah, so our NRB is we established a nonprofit that is it's actually boundary restricted to that the funds are reinvested back into that ACAP area within, I think, within a quarter mile of Artesian Aviation Corridor, similar to how Riviera Village or some of the other, and I think Hermosa Farmers Market as well. So Riviera Village is a business improvement district. The Riviera Village Association hosts the farmers market with a market manager. They use those revenues to reinvest into either programming or amenities or beautification. And so that was something that was very important to our team. We did have an opportunity for a local nonprofit to sponsor us. Their criteria was that the funds would go into their general fund and it would be used very broadly. We wanted to use them in a very specific area because one of the things that we are seeing is that there's a lot of organizations and fantastic groups working within Riviera Village, the harbor, the pier, but we don't really have a lot of that in North Redondo. And so this is, we have NRBBA who works with the businesses, and this would be the residential component of using the funds from the farmers market to reinvest in the community instead of just broadly going into another nonprofit.
I think I have other questions in relation to that, but I would just skip that for now and just tell you that I'm extremely supportive of farmers markets. I go to the Torrance one on Crenshaw all the time, and I've loved the opportunities to go to local events. I have to be honest and say that I'm nervous for you.
I'm nervous too.
I look at Artesia, and between the hours of 5 and 7, and I'm already looking at, there's gonna be cars coming, going east because you're going to the 91. So people are coming up to the 405. It's massive traffic going in both directions, quite frankly, but you're also going to have people looking for you, the farmers market. You're going to have cars that are driving there. I know you're saying you're targeting the residents there, so they're going to bike and they're going to walk. But these things tend to get bigger than you think, especially if it's fun, and you're starting to attract people to the businesses on Artesia. And I'm just looking at it, and I wish you well. It doesn't sound like we have a say at this point. I think it could benefit the library, but I'll use an example. I go to, in the city of Monterey, in their little downtown, they have a beautiful farmer's market, and it's all walkable. They shut down the streets. It's right off a major street to get down there, and it's a disaster. It's almost scary. Because when you're walking to get there and there's cars circling around and there is just enough people have come down there just for that. And they kind of have this roundabout in their downtown area. So I wish you well, and I will support it if it's there. I will ride my bike so I don't add another car there. But again, I'm coming home from work. I don't live in that area. And I hope it works.
Yeah, one of the other markets that we used as research is the Culver City Farmers Market, which is in the afternoons, and it is immediately off Culver Boulevard, which is pretty substantial. It gets backed up quite a bit, and that's on Tuesday afternoons. There's definitely more parking constraints around, but they also have some public parking lots. And so as we get this, the first step is getting the city to approve the general location, but we are working specifically with signage and some of the local businesses that have larger parking lots to be able to have direct people and traffic to the larger parking lots and then have them walking to it. And I know, there's always concerns with parking, like crosswalks. I think one of the good things about Green Street is it's not a through street. It dead ends on the other side, and there's a park there. So we're not going to be getting any kind of through traffic. And then Vanderbilt is a one-way street as well, which is helpful.
I'm very familiar with the area, and like I said, I want it to succeed. It sounds like the public wants something in North Redondo, and I think I would encourage the city to continue to work with the public, because to me, this kind of looks like you found a spot that it'll fit and you've analyzed the other areas where it doesn't work, but you found one that it fits in, but I still don't know if that's a great idea necessarily. So I'm just providing my 2 cents, and I really wish you well.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner McCauley?
I totally agree with what Commissioner Caldwell just pointed out. And like him, I wish you very good luck on this. I think it's a great idea. I think it is good for the library as well. I think functionally, it's got a few kinks to be determined. But I think, yes, we should give it a try. Get you the 6 months would be great. And then see how it is after that. See how things go. I think it's a great idea. I think farmer markets are good for the community, and yeah, I wish you luck.
Commissioner Rowe?
So no questions, just compliments to the analysis. I'm an engineer. That was kind of like NASA level analysis. Like, good job. Way to go, Jim. But I appreciate that. And I love vegetables. I'll be walking to your facility. So thank you. Or my e-bike at 40 miles an hour, one of the two.
I do have some questions, Ms. Mitchell. Just to remind us, who's on the board right now for this organization?
The board members are myself, Jim Mueller, who instigated this farmers market, Wayne Craig, Commissioner Galassi is on, and then Nehal Sharifi and Daniela Nodicki as well.
Thank you. And since Mr. Craig's here, he's on the Planning Commission, I assume this is in sync with the general plan for Artesia Aviation?
Yeah, it is. It's in alignment with the ACAP, and we did go to the Planning Commission in the fall as well and presented with them in October.
I didn't see the number here, maybe I missed it. So Artesia, they were talking at one point of making pay parking for that street. So exactly what do you anticipate the parking capacity for people coming to the market would be?
What they did do as a study for Artesia Boulevard is, as part of the ACAP analysis, they did a parking analysis, and I think they found that only 56% of the parking spaces on the street and in the businesses were utilized. And that was done in 2019 before COVID, so it was probably a higher frequency because some of those businesses have closed and things have changed a bit after COVID. So that, and that's why we're also looking at the, utilizing some of the larger parking lots for off-street parking. There's 4 large parking lots that are within a walking distance from there. The grocery outlet, the South Bay Aquatics, Rite Aid, and Pep Boys they all have large parking lots. So we have started reaching out to those businesses as well. And then we're also hoping that the other local businesses will allow for a shared parking situation. And then of course, people walking and biking.
And are you having some sort of accommodation for the seniors that are near the park over there? There's a whole senior area over there.
There's right across the street is right next to the park, the Pep Boys.
Yeah, there's a park in the back over there that has a retirement community there.
Off of Vanderbilt, huh? Heritage Point. Oh, okay, behind Rite Aid. So it would be walkable from there. And then, as I mentioned, there's 4 ADA parking stalls with the path of travel, they're just rarely utilized.
Okay, and here's my toughest question for you.
Okay.
What exactly would you like us to come back to you guys with? If we take a motion today, what would you like to see?
Well, of course, we would like your overwhelming support. But I think the intent of this came from Director Vinke was to inform the commission and for you guys to provide any input that you have of areas that, I mean, you guys are most familiar with the library and public amenities since you are looking at this citywide. So any input that you have that, you know, we're a group of 6 people. So having more input and finding out, you know, maybe even holes in our plan would be fantastic.
Okay. Can I send a couple more questions?
Sure.
So this is, you said 2 to 7? Is that what you said? The
2 to 7, yeah.
Is there enough light on that street for like this to happen in like after the sun has gone down, essentially?
Once the time changes again in October. I think both the parking lots are lit, and then we would add supplemental lighting if we need to on the street.
How many vendors can you put along that stretch?
So a standard booth is 10 by 10. There's 230 feet on that street. So one side we could have 23 stalls. The other side with the gap, it would be, you know, because there's, I think, a 30-foot drive aisle or driveway as well, which we would leave open. I think that there's another 20 stalls. So we were probably looking between 40 to 45 stalls. That does not translate to the same number of vendors as often produce vendors and some of the other vendors will use multiple booth spaces. So we're expecting probably between 25 to 35 different vendors.
How does that compare to like, say, like the Veterans Park or one of the smaller?
So Hermosa is about 25 vendors. Veterans Park is between 35 to 40, and then Riviera Village is right around 30 vendors. So it's comparable to the other markets. It's definitely much smaller than Torrance, which is around 100 vendors, right. Or 100, 110.
And then those calculations for how many vendors you can put in there, that's taking into consideration like their cars as well? Because their cars will be like behind them and then they'll be in front of them, or?
No, the vendor park, the only cars that would be on site would be in this section that's in the few stalls that we're blocking off in the vendor car in the library parking lot. The rest we are reaching out to local businesses to provide off-street parking for the vendors to accommodate. But there's not enough room for a booth and for vendor parking behind it.
Do you feel like that's going to impact what vendors will come to your farmers market? Because I know like some of them, they park right behind, so they don't have to cart their stuff.
So in Riviera Village, they do park, some of them do park right behind because they have that larger parking lot, both for Veterans Park and for Hermosa. They unload and then they, except for the produce vendors, they unload and then they park and they have offsite or out of market, and then they bring their cars back during setup and takedown.
Okay. I just have one more question too. And these are all just, you know, I'm visualizing like this plan of yours.
Please.
So is it difficult to get farmers that will agree to come to your farmers market? Is there any concern that you won't be able to find the vendors, or?
So we are getting a lot of unsolicited outreach from vendors right now. Most of them are the prepared food vendors. Mm-hmm. My understanding from other market managers is the produce vendors are they're always the most limited. But because we are an afternoon market instead of a morning market, we're filling a different time slot. But farmers tend to come as far as, from my understanding, is they'll come as far as from like the Central Valley, and they come down for the day and they spend the whole day as well. But our intention is to be a certified farmers market. So there is a short list of certified farmers that the Department of Agriculture prepares. But what we've found is that the market managers that we've been speaking to and the market managers from the other local markets have also agreed to, once we get the site identified, to share with their vendors, and they all have waiting lists for vendors. So I don't think we're gonna have a trouble finding vendors. I think it may be a little bit harder for the produce vendors, but to fill the regular vendors, I don't think that's gonna be so much of an issue.
Thank you.
And I would also point out that you're probably the only farmer's market that's going to have a police substation like within
Right next
feet of the
there.
market.
It's very safe.
Very safe. Why don't we open it up for public comment? I know the students have been sitting here, and I know Mr. Mueller would probably want to say, do you guys want to have any questions? Come on up and ask your questions. And thank you for participating.
Hello, do I have to state my name or I just?
Yeah, please.
Okay, my name is Chloe Donovan. I actually live right around that area. I was pretty much born and raised in North Redondo off Curtis and Blossom. So my entire life I've been walking that street. I remember in middle school we'd get off on the bus stop and we'd actually walk around that area, like whether it was the Starbucks or, they have all the stores around there. And that's actually something now that I've been talking to my friends about, is there isn't a lot of activities up there. A lot of the times, even when I was younger and I was in elementary school, we would do field trips down to the South Redondo Farmers Market because there isn't really a lot to do up there. So, I mean, just listening to this, I had no idea this was even in a possibility, but I think it's a great idea. I know logistically it's hard. I mean, I volunteered in that library during the summertime, so I know that it can get pretty busy, but I mean, even my sister, she's in middle school now, like I know she walks around that area, and I think, I'm a senior now, so I probably won't see the benefit of this, but even her, like having a community event there, or, especially in the summertime, I know they do like CDC or programs after school, or, with those groups, those kids, like having something to go to that's like closer, they don't need to take a bus, which is always a worry of like the people running those programs. I think that's an amazing idea. I don't really have a question on it. I just was listening and I thought it was a really good idea, and I hope it gets considered. I don't know what time or what point this would get implemented, but yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do either of you want to say anything? Okay, they're not moving. Mr. Mueller, do you want to say something?
Yes, thank you. I'm Jim Mueller. I live in District 5, right there in North Redondo, and I want to say that this idea is very popular. We have a change.org petition, and as of now, we have 1,500 people from North Redondo who have signed a petition supporting this idea. I've also posted on all of the social media, and every single posting has a positive response. So I think that people really want this. And I have to tell you that I think people are the key to making Artesia Boulevard a success. And I know that this isn't particularly the prevailing view in the council, but the more people we get on that boulevard, the more business we will attract to the boulevard, and the more revenue the city will get, and the city is at present concerned about their level of revenue. One of the really good things about this is that people will be able to feel a sense of community, and the market will be successful. I'm sure about that. But our nonprofit, our NRB, will sponsor other events so that we can have other events that get people spending more time on the boulevard. And believe me, as a former businessman, I can tell you that when I see a lot of people in an area, I want to have a business there because they will be my customers and I will make a profit. So that's one of my prime motivations for doing this, is to help the city with its problem, attracting business to that area and making it a commercial success, as well as a community success. So I hope you can go to the council and tell them that you support this idea and that they should be in full support of it as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Craig, do you want to say something?
Good evening. Wayne Craig, resident of District 1. I'm going to speak to you first as a private citizen and then also what would happen on the Planning Commission. This is not a new idea. I mean, I've been hearing about farmers market idea for over 10 years. And like a lot of folks, I was like getting a little frustrated and another thing happened. And, there are more, other pressing issues that come up sometimes from the council. So sometimes you have to kind of do things at a grassroots level to get it started. Mr. Mueller came in front of the Planning Commission. I'm the chair of that. And was talking about it. I said, you got a great idea. And we got the commissioners together to kind of talk about a subcommittee to talk about it. I got a phone call from the mayor a couple of days later, a little concerned that we were talking about it because it's not, normally Planning Commission, we're doing CUPs and things like that. But it just seemed like it'd be an important issue that we've been trying to get going for a long time and really couldn't get started. And I talked to Teresa Mitchell, and she'd done, as you said, an amazing analysis of all of this. And so after talking to the mayor, I said, I think we can make this happen. And he said, well, show me the information. Well, about a day later, I got a call back. He said, I want to talk to Teresa. So things got started. So basically this started from Jim coming up, pounding at the podium, and we said, let's get it going. And Teresa did a huge amount of work, and we've got a great team. We've got folks who are working on every different angle. After we got this thing started, I just put a Facebook page to kind of mirror what Jim was saying. Within about a day, 300 or 400 people were following it. And we don't even have anything to put on it yet. It's just North Redondo Farmers Market, that's it. And it's a great thing. I think it's long overdue. I'm lucky enough to live in South Redondo where I could walk to the farmer's market on Thursday and I could walk to the one in Revere Village on Sundays. Why can't we have this elsewhere? And the analysis makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think everyone was first thinking, hey, how about putting in the performing arts library? It's really on the edge of the city and it's not walkable. And for all the reasons that Teresa said, it just makes a lot of sense. And having a library director, helping us out with it was really helpful. I think it's going to be a win-win for the community. We do have a lot of not only public interest, but we looking at logistics, and as Teresa said, the vendors. We've also have market managers that were interested in helping out. So we've got a lot of different things we're doing. And we've created a nonprofit. We've got our bank account set up. We're about ready to help get sponsors through. So it's ready to go. So if you want to help us, help the city out, certainly, I don't know how to best make a recommendation to the city council saying that just like the Planning Commission, you think this would be a good thing for the city to follow through with. And I think the whole community will benefit.
Thank you. I have a question now. Is the Planning Commission going to give an endorsement as well?
Well, as I mentioned, it's not really within our purview.
This isn't in our purview, other than the fact it's a library connection.
We were looking at it as more of like a subcommittee to kind of work together to write a letter to the city saying this is something you should do. And the idea from that was originally we thought we were going to need the city's help to really get this thing going. But as we found, the community, we've actually done all of the work. Teresa has got it. All we're doing now really is applying for the various permits and stuff from the city to get it done. So we've kind of did all that ourselves. We originally were thinking we needed help from a sponsor. We created our own nonprofit to avoid that. So we want to ensure that any of the money that's raised from this is reinvested in the TJ Aviation Corridor. So we kind of fixed all the problems that we would have needed the city's help for anyway. So now it's pretty much, we've got the library director on board. We've got city staff looking into what we need to do to implement it. So basically just to say, hey, you think it's a good idea too. Not that we really need the city. At some point, the city will probably have to, on their consent calendar approve it. And that's really about it. So it doesn't have to go through a whole, big agendized process on the city council.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Mitchell, can you come back up a second? Again, it's going back to the question, what can we do for you? And Mr. Vinke, when we were on the Library Commission, we did a lot of letters that went to council talking about it. Is this something that you were looking for, a letter from us, Ms. Mitchell, or would you want something more formal as a resolution? What's your thought? Or both of your thoughts, because...
Well, I think as Teresa brought up earlier, raising awareness and highlighting the work and effort that they put into this and the effort they've made to mitigating the impacts on the library and also the potential for collaboration. I think that's sort of acknowledgement. I think we'd have to probably discuss offline if there's a possibility or under the purview to make a recommendation or support, but we'd be happy to follow up on that. I think this was an excellent way to raise awareness and again, get your input on the process. So I think from what I've seen, the mission is accomplished, but I want to speak for Teresa. If you have any other things you'd like to add, please do.
I agree with Director Vinke. I think having your input and bringing up some of the questions that you have is very helpful. It gives us more, the more information that we can have in advance, it helps the market become more successful later. So that's definitely a pro. I don't know whether the commission can actually write a letter or you just as a general resolution of support for it. I'm not clear on.
Yeah, we could definitely follow up on that offline and bring that back at the next meeting to be able to give you some options. But otherwise, we're very appreciative of your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there like a time frame that you're hoping to get this off the ground?
We are targeting late April after Spring Fest, so soon.
Yeah.
I will leave it to the commissioners. Do you want us to just say a positive, yay, we support it, or do you want to have a subcommittee that drafts a letter to the council? I assume Mr. Abaji is also in favor of this, so.
He is, yeah.
What's your preferences?
I personally look at it as noted as an item for discussion before action. I would ask staff to come back to us with potential action. I would also encourage everybody here. I mean, it sounds like you have our support. I think that everybody sitting up here probably is either friendly with or has a relationship where you could reach out to your city council member and do that. Or when it comes to the city council, I mean, you could have some of us join you as commissioners individually and support. So we can always act as individuals, but if staff was going to go look and see what we could do as a commission, I would say that would suffice for me.
Thank you.
All right. I noticed that there is a street light in the middle of the block, and there's a street light at Vanderbilt as well.
And she said there'd be supplemental light.
Yeah.
So quick commentary, just I was thinking about what Ed was saying. Your biggest problem is going to be people driving around looking for parking who maybe live just a half mile away. So I would suggest they're going to turn on Blossom, come down Vanderbilt, and you're going to have angry Vanderbilt residents all the way up that block probably. Make sure you have a person with a flyer with all the parking and give that to every driver that comes down Vanderbilt on where to park so they can get out and find parking. Like Ed said, they're going to circle around if they don't know where to go. So just a suggestion.
Yeah, one of the action items that we do have in our committee is one, identifying the alternative parking, but second is that we are working on signage to flag not only where the market is with wind flags and other banners, but also where parking may be. So as we identify those parking lots, putting up the signage that this is farmers market parking here. Which is kind of similar to what's done in, I think, like San Luis. It's been a while since I've been to the Monterey one, but I know San Luis Obispo, that's a big market that closes a big main street, and parking's always a little tricky for that one.
Hey, Rite Aid's closed. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So unless I hear otherwise, it sounds like you just want to receive and file this report and then show our support otherwise. So can I get a motion to that effect?
A motion to file the report and the proceedings that we've witnessed today in support of the farmers market.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I think we've already had our public comment. Is there anybody online?
There's nobody online.
Okay, then I'll take a vote. We can do as a roll call if you want. That might be more powerful.
Commissioner Caldwell.
Yes.
Commissioner Lang.
Yes.
Commissioner Rowe.
Yes.
Commissioner McCauley.
Yes.
Chair Morocco.
Yes. I will note that Commissioner Galassi, who's part of this process, would probably be supportive as well.
I hope so.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mitchell. I appreciate you spending the time this evening coming to talk to us.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Okay, the students, if you want to cut out now, now's the time to go up there and sign it. Otherwise, we should be maybe another 10, 15 minutes out at the most. So I'll leave that to your discretion, but just come up and bring your papers if you want to. Okay, so now we're moving on to L2, which is Commission Subcommittee Review and Project Update. Okay, let's go see. So we'll start with the Minor Alterations Subcommittee.
We have nothing.
Okay, Facilities User Subcommittee.
Yeah, we have a meeting next week with some of the users, and we will report back any items that come up.
Okay, Volunteer Acknowledgement Program Subcommittee.
Not much to report. We do have one new application that was put in. Thank you very much, Mara. So we are processing applications.
Okay, Bringing History to the Community Subcommittee. So hopefully we'll have a meeting in the next month to go over some of this stuff. We're making progress with the Ito Park, thanks to our cultural arts director, a manager. The titles are always good, but Jack, you're doing a great job with that. And then we have the markers for the walking timeline going forward. There may be some other projects that we can start thinking about now that we're moving forward with some of them. Franklin Park Playground Subcommittee.
No news.
Okay. Alta Vista Pickleball, Commissioner Glossi is not here tonight. Do you know anything, Director Binky?
I do not have any updates.
Okay. Then we go to the Preservation Outreach Subcommittee.
I don't know that there's anything to report, but I do want to say, today I think was a big day for preservation in the city of Redondo Beach. And as Commissioner Rowe said, we can always do more outreach, and especially in these pockets or in these areas where there's so many beautiful homes and older style homes and historic homes. It's great to see.
So I did present, and we did vote to agendize this potential historic resource inventory. One of the comments, and this goes back to your outreach, is that it is so unwieldy, and you've mentioned it during the meetings, we're not giving notice to the people. So the way I see these surveys is that you have 5 years between the survey to clean it all up, either encourage them to get historical status or get off of that list. So that's what I've proposed for that as far as that goes, and I think it's part of the education process. What I did notice, and this is coming to your education stuff, there are some areas in the city that actually we could do some very easy outreach to. The South Catalina people have expressed already a desire. I noticed that some of the Avenue A's and in the avenues, there's a lot of homes that are available over there. I'm going to a program next week that's going to talk about legislation, what you should be writing on some of this stuff. And I think we can actually, as part of the outreach, make it so it's more user-friendly. And so when you start having your meetings, as we used to do as a commission, I abstained today, but I was doing nothing different than what was done previously, just reaching out to them, and hopefully the city has new forms that we can get more people involved with. So I look forward to what you guys come up with ultimately at some point. Recognition Preservation Subcommittee. So in your materials, and I thought it was presented last time too, is a sample of a brick with a budget.
Yeah,
Love to get some feedback on it. I think there's a way to bring the cost down significantly, but as you can see from the design, it's supposed to be simple. It's just a brick that gets embedded in the concrete, and making opportunities with a new district. I'm hoping to have some outreach with the people that are in the district and get their ideas of how they want to promote it. And I'm hoping, I think as you pointed out, that we can expand it to all the homes on that area. This was just a foothold that once they see that this is coming out, a lot of other places will go around, and it's a beautiful area to walk around. So that's what's going on with that, and hopefully if I can get some feedback, probably need it sooner when we're meeting as a group as opposed to getting Brown Act stuff going on it. Okay, and then the budget committee.
We have not met. I think, yes, we have not met, but hopefully that will be active.
Do you know when the city manager's going to come and ask us?
I do not have an ETA on that. I anticipate April, but I don't want to. I don't want to speak for the city manager, but that's usually the time. I can reach out to the subcommittee and see if we can meet internally before our next meeting.
Okay. And Jack, do you have anything you want to talk about the budget? Or what your wish list is for the Performing Arts Center or the museum or anything that we have kind of a crossover ability to start thinking about?
For and assist in planning the city's birthday. So I will bring that back at the next meeting, but if people would be willing to participate, might be thinking about that. Last year was Commissioner Rowe and Commissioner Yousafzai.
Okay, great.
That would be the only thing budget related.
Okay, thank you. And while you're still standing there, we are now on item M, which is items from staff. Do you have anything that you want to talk about?
Not at this time.
Okay. Director Vinke?
Not at this time.
Okay. Commissioner member items and future commission agenda topics. We'll start with Commissioner McCauley.
Not at this time.
Okay. Commissioner Rowe?
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Lang?
None at this time.
Okay. And Commissioner Caldwell?
I'll keep it going and say none at this time.
Okay, and I will do the same. So with that, we're moving on to adjournment. The next meeting of the Redondo Beach Public Amenities Commission. Well, before I do that, do we have any public comment at all on any of the stuff we just talked about?
There are no public comments.
Okay, thank you. The next meeting of the Redondo Beach Public Amenities Commission will be a regular meeting to be held at 6:30 p.m. on March 11th in the Redondo Beach City Council chambers at 415 Diamond Street, Redondo Beach. It's the intention of the city of Redondo Beach to comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act in all respects. If as an attendee or a participant at this meeting, you will need special assistance beyond what is normally provided, the city will attempt to accommodate you in every reasonable manner. Please contact the city clerk's office at 310-318-0656 at least 48 hours prior to the meeting to inform us of your particular needs and to determine if an accommodation is feasible. Please advise us at that time if you need accommodations to attend or participate in meetings on a regular basis. An agenda packet is available 24 hours a day at www.redondo.org under the city clerk. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Second. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, so we're adjourned. Thank you all for participating today, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you. Good job.
Thank you, everyone.